We all love those crisp, pure iron shots, but sometimes we're dealing with chunks and thins, right? We don't know what's going on. In this video, I'm going to explain to you how we don't get those chunks and thins and how we hit those perfect shots almost every single time. Here we go. First, we're gonna wanna start off with our setup, right? Our setup is fundamental when it comes to our swing when we're starting, okay? So, I have a 7-iron here. Now, with a 7-iron, it's a mid-iron. You're gonna wanna set up in the middle of your stance. Now, sometimes people don't know what the middle of their stance is. So here, I will show you now, okay? So what I like to do is I like to keep my feet centered right at the ball where the center is right here. You want to be at a good distance away when your arms are hanging. You're not too hunched over like this, and you're also not too leant back, right? You're just nice and neutral in front, okay? So you don't want to be too far forward. You don't want to be too far back, right? What you're going to want instead is to have a good setup right here, and then step equally for your 7-iron. So equal and equal, shoulder width apart. So again, let me show you here. Equal. We're shoulder width apart for a 7-iron. And now we already have a good setup here. Now we're not going to want to be too far on our back foot or too far on our front foot, as that won't lead to that proper weight shift back and that proper weight shift through. What we're going to want to do is have even distribution of weight on both sides. And what we're also going to want to do is make sure that our chest or the middle of our sternum is right on top of the ball, if not just in front. Okay, now the reason for this is because when we come down and we swing through, we want to promote our chest to be in front of the golf ball, because wherever our chest is in relation to the golf ball is where we're going to be taking that divot. We'll get more into that at the downswing and impact phase, but just keep that in mind when it comes to your setup. So again, for our setup, we take our stance, boom, boom. I feel good, right? My shoulders are now at target, right? We don't want to be open. We don't want to be close to target. We want to be right in line with our target. Now, usually I like to set up with a bit of forward shaft lean here to promote that extra compression when we're coming down. As if we set up with no shaft lean, negative, or no shaft lean, it could lead to a bit more scooping, and we don't want that as well. So now that we have our setup down, we're set up at the ball, chest is in front. I have a good feeling with this ball. My shoulders are aligned straight. My feet are aligned straight here. Now we are ready to go to our backswing. Okay, now our backswing is pretty simple, but there's a lot of mistakes I see people make. When you want to hit that crisp, pure iron shot, what it takes in your backswing is not to sway. And what I mean by that is when you take it back, my weight is on my right leg, which is good, but I've shifted. I don't want to shift, right? We want to rotate around this right leg, right? You want to store this energy in this hip, in your lower back, almost like a spring that's coiling around your body instead. Okay? So we don't want to see you swaying like this, as it leads to so much space you have to cover to hit the ball properly, right? Or what will happen is you're like this, and now look, my sternum is behind the golf ball. If I don't move, I chunk it behind the golf ball. What we're gonna wanna do instead here is make sure we're rotating around. My head and sternum stay in the same spot, right? I'm in the exact same position. I'm not swaying. I'm in the exact same position, storing that energy in my back leg here, taking it back, and I'm ready, and I'm in that attack position here, storing that energy here, ready to release it down into the ball for that crisp shot that we all know and love. Okay, something else to keep in mind for your backswing is not to make it too complicated, but you want to make sure when you're at the top of your backswing, you're coming on the inside, right? You don't want to be coming on too far outside here. You also don't want to be coming too far inside. Okay, you want to take it up on plane here. A drill I like to do for this is just take it back here, take it to the top. Now we're in a perfect position here. Right elbow's nice and close, lead arm is nice and straight, and now we have all our energy coiled. We can now release with the weight shift, and then release and come down to hit the ball nice and smooth. Okay, now let's talk about downswing and impact. Something that's very common that I see is the chest bone moves, right? Again, swaying, but then your chest bone will move too far behind the golf ball, or will either move too far in front, leading to you having to catch up with your hands, and that will never work. You want a slight movement, if not no movement of your chest, okay? Think about your chest and your head staying even over the golf ball the whole time. Even, right? No movement, if not very, very little in front of the golf ball only, okay? The reason for this is because we want the least amount of movement in our upper body with our head, because that will lead to you changing too many things. There's already so many variables on the golf swing, people telling you to remember 15 different things, right? Let's try and keep it at least simple with our head and our chest, so we can keep our low point in the same position every single time. Now the position I'm in here at impact, right, we already got the club up, we're getting the club down here. My lead leg is being pressured here, right? I'd say about 85-90% of my weight is now on my lead leg here, ready to attack, right? We have our hands in front of the golf ball. Hands in front instead of hands behind here, right? We want our hands in front to promote that compression where we're swinging down on the golf ball and then through, okay? Now, the reason we want our chest in front of the golf ball here, which I said we'd get to later, now's that time, is because of our low point, right? And if you don't understand what low point means, it's basically the lowest part of your swing in an arc. So if you think about an arc as a circle, the lowest part of that circle is what's called your low point. If your low point is behind the ball, what that will mean is you're swinging up on your iron, which is not what we want. That's a driver swing. Now, if your low point is in front of the ball slightly, maybe an inch or 2 inches, that's optimal. As what then happens is we're swinging on the ball with a downward angle, negative angle of attack here, hit the ball first, and then hit the ground after, right? Hit the ball first, and then we hit the ground after to take a divot, which is exactly what we want for that pure iron strike, okay? Now to go over everything again, set up like this, boom, boom, shoulder width apart, which I really like for my 7-iron, okay? Set up with a little bit of forward shaft lean, take the club back, make sure you're in a good straight position where this is matching my spine angle. Then I can take it up, right? Now my lead leg is being coiled here, my back is being coiled just like a spring. We don't want to be swaying in the back, as that will lead to you scooping or coming down and having too much space to cover here, okay? So now we're in the back, we're good, we're rotating. Then we want to weight shift, release, and when we come down to impact, our hands are in front of the golf ball. Sternum is slightly in front of the golf ball as well to promote a good low point where we're hitting ball first and then turf after, okay? So if we put all these things together, this is how something like this should look and sound. You can see the club comes to address, and that is where the divot is, right? So our divot is completely after the ball. We're hitting ball first, coming on a downward angle with forward shaft lean, right? Ball first, coming on this downward angle here, right here. And then we're able to then take, if we get this ball out of the way, take the turf after, and then come up. If you guys like this type of content, hit the subscribe link down below. Would love to hear your guys' comments about this type of content and what you guys want to see next. I'll see you guys in the next one.